The University of Exeter sponsors this session as part of our celebration of 20 years of the Experimental Archaeology Masters Programme. Feeling inspired? Do get in touch. Many of our staff research and teach using experiments. We encourage our students to present and publish. At this conference, 8 staff, 5 current PhD students and 10 current and recent master's students are all presenting papers. They're doing this alongside many of our former students who have continued to conduct their research in this field. The conference has proved to be a great way to see more of our global alumni. If you want to come and study with us for an MSc in Experimental Archaeology or any of our top postgraduate programmes, do get in touch. We also offer research degrees at master's and PhD level, which can be based in Exeter or at a distance. You will be joining a vibrant and active postgraduate community and become part of a world-leading research department.
Hello, my name is Professor Linda Hercombe and I am the Director of our Masters of Science in Experimental Archaeology. I'm also the person who set it up just over 20 years ago now. So this section is really just saying happy birthday to Experimental Archaeology at Exeter. I wanted to just go over some of the reasons why we set up that Masters programme. I've always felt that academic research has a great value, but so does practical research. And knowledge that you can gain through your hands and doing something reinforces an understanding and gives you insights into the things that you see in the archaeological record. So in all kinds of ways, the original idea for the Masters was to put together 2 bodies of knowledge and make that available to students. Over the years, the course has grown, expanded, and it's now a Masters in Science, although it started as a Masters in Arts. And as we've gone through, there are students from all over the globe. And they've come, they've learned something from us, and they've gone back. And for me, as a lecturer, it's incredibly rewarding to see just what value that whole experience has given people. There are experienced craftspeople who've come who wanted to just get an academic dimension to their practical craft and to find a way to publish in their field. And there are also people who were academically very successful, but who wanted to do something that meant that they could practically engage with the material that they've been studying. That's a real feature of experimental archaeology, and as we put it together here at Exeter. A lot of choice, the chance to get involved with staff research projects, but also to do your own thing and to take it where you want. It's a feature that I think has really paid dividends over the years. And to see what some of our alumni are doing now and to research a little bit about what they've gone on to do has been a great way of celebrating 20 years of experimental archaeology here at Exeter. So, happy birthday, Experimental Archaeology.
Hello, I'm Professor Alan Outram. I'm the Professor of Archaeological Science at the University of Exeter. And I've used experimental archaeology an awful lot all the way through my research career. My PhD was an experimental PhD. I'm a zooarchaeologist and my topic was bone marrow and grease exploitation from skeletal elements and how you identify that in the archaeological record. And that was all done experimentally, so there were a lot of bone fracture experiments in there to see how bones fracture in different conditions. And that was a key to me developing the methodologies and then applying that to case studies. And ever since then, I've done lots of teaching and research, which does include experiments. I was one of the people that first taught on the experimental MA here at Exeter, along with Linda Hercombe. And continue to do lots of experiments with students. Lots still to do with bone fracture, but also some that move into a little bit of the forensic area to do with injury, trauma, and also in zooarchaeology, butchery patterns and that sort of thing are areas that I still do lots of experimentation. Also use experiments quite a lot in public presentation. One of my long-term excavations has been in North America, in South Dakota, at a site called Mitchell Prehistoric Indian Village, which is a plains village culture that has a lot of bison hunting as well as farming, and there's a lot of bone grease production there, which is back to my original PhD topic. And we've certainly done public demonstrations of how you do that for the visitors that go around the site. And every year we do lots of primitive technology demonstrations alongside the excavations for our open days. Another area of zooarchaeology where I've used experiments relates to my research on horses. I've done a lot of work on the transition from horse hunting to horse domestication in Central Asia. I did an index of horse food utility, all the meat and fat values on horses to understand horse hunting. And experiments have played their role in understanding horse domestication too. Colleagues of mine, for instance, have done experiments into bit wear and things like that to show early harnessing. Doing other work with horses too at the moment, but a little bit later time period, on medieval war horses. And we're commissioning at the moment some replicas of medieval horse tack, which we will use in public display of our research results. Published quite widely on experimental archaeology, and I think it's really a topic that's taking off in all sorts of publications at the moment. One thing we did from Exeter a little while ago, while I was the editor of World Archaeology, we did a special experimental archaeology edition, which contained a number of authors from Exeter as well as people from around the world writing specifically on that topic, and did write an introductory chapter on the nature of experimental archaeology, which is now really quite highly cited as a source about what experimental archaeology is.
Hi, my name's Dr. Laura Evis and I work here at the University of Exeter. I'm currently Director of Admissions here, but also the Director of the undergraduate degree in Archaeology with Forensic Science and the postgraduate programme in Bioarchaeology Forensic Anthropology. Currently, my interests span archaeology, forensic science and experimentation. I use experiments regularly in my research, both when I'm doing archaeological projects and forensic projects, because my projects focus on problem solving. So an archaeological company or the police come in and ask me to solve an issue. So it can be related to taphonomy, so how long has this body been here? It can be related to reconstructing the sequence of events at a crime scene or an archaeological site. And much of my research has been oriented on this subject matter. For much of my research to date, I have looked at excavation and how it's used and testing it, so it can be applied in a legal context in forensic casework. This also has relevance to archaeological practice too. My students also do a lot of experimental work, and nearly all of the dissertations that I supervise are experimentally based. To name some of the examples that have come through over the years, some students have looked at how bone degrades and is disposed of using a variety of chemicals. Others have looked at how human remains preserve in bog environments. 2 students have done that and set up experiments in order to investigate that phenomena. Others have done experiments looking at contact lenses and how they degrade using pig eyeballs as analogues. So experimentation is at the heart of everything I do generally in research and in practice. I published 2 works dedicated to experimental studies. The first is a book called Forensic Archaeology, the Application of Comparative Excavation Methods and Recording Systems, which examined how and tested how excavation methods and recording systems perform against each other using a simulated grave scenario. And the second work I published is in STAR, Science and Technology in Archaeological Research, which again was focused on experimentally testing excavation methods, but focused on 2 methods in that paper rather than the 4 focused on in the book.
Hi, I'm Dave Budd. I'm a blacksmith based out near Dartmoor. I did the Masters in Experimental Archaeology in 2002-3. Since then I've been making tools primarily. My main focus is making historically accurate tools that actually work, rather than just museum display pieces. Bit of a show and tell and look around my workshop.
Happy birthday to experimental archaeology at Exeter.